So on June 6th, we got this story in regards to Trump invoking the War of 1812 in a call with the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. And the reason that we got this story in the mainstream media is because the central theme that they keep running in the mainstream media is all about the not standing during the national anthem and the flag symbolism. And if you're not aware, Donald Trump's birthday just so happens to be the same day as Flag Day, so he's the perfect president to call out the NFL for not standing during the national anthem. And he did that on the date of 23/9, September 23rd. And then the Eagles went on to win the Super Bowl, and the flag was supposedly sewn at 239 Arch Street in Philadelphia, and the flag became 239 years old the same year that Donald Trump became the president. And 239 years old on his birthday in 2016, and then it was still 239 years old until 2017 when he became the president. They even gave us stories about how at his physical he supposedly weighed 239 pounds and whatever else. Just such a joke. And the 239 is the 52nd prime number. The 52nd prime is 239. It was Super Bowl 52 that the Eagles won. I even talked about how it was synced up to Charles Manson in October, because Charles Manson had the theory of the blacks rising up called the Helter Skelter theory. And then Charles Manson ends up dying a month later in November. And much, much more to that. I don't want to lose you, but our media is absolutely scripted and coded with what is called Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words and phrases. And a great example of how you know this exists is people like Roseanne, who admittedly practice Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism, the belief that God created the world by merging the letter with the number. Whatever you truly think God is, maybe it's just patterns in nature or the universe, but it absolutely exists in this world, and people are understanding this system and using it to rule over us. And Roseanne is a person who understands this system, and that's why she's playing a role in it. And I'll explain a little bit more about that in a second. But check out some links in the description, learn how to apply this for yourself. It absolutely happens every single day. But the central theme right now is all about the kneeling during the national anthem. And the Eagles not going to the White House, and Steph Curry and LeBron James both won't go to the White House. So that is the big central theme. And what are the odds? The president's birthday just so happens to be Flag Day. Anyway, the reason we got the story about Trump invoking the War of 1812 is because the national anthem was written in the year 1814 during the War of 1812. It was the Battle of Baltimore, when Francis Scott Key was inspired by the Great Garrison flag. And of course, in Gematria, Great Garrison flag equals 88, Trump equals 88, Star Spangled Banner equals 88, the word kneel equals 88, Colin Kaepernick equals 88. The Super Bowl was played at U.S. Bank Stadium, that equals 88. And think about it, U.S. Bank Stadium, and Herbert Hoover was the president during the stock market crash. Right now, we're currently in the 88th anniversary of the stock market crash. Herbert Hoover, HH, a lot like 88. And if you write out Herbert Hoover in Gematria, we'll show you really quick. Look at Herbert Hoover, 159, and look at Donald Trump, 159. Even Francis Key, the guy who wrote the national anthem, 159. Oh, the odds that all these connections exist. That's what I'll show you. Trump does equal 88. Colin Kaepernick, spell it wrong there. 88, and so on, Star Spangled Banner, the Star Spangled Banner, 88, also 223. And this is important because War of 1812, when it was written, equals 223. And in Jewish Gematria, that's not on here, the word Kaepernick equals 223. And that's why Roseanne came back on the 223rd episode, and she got canceled after the 231st episode because National Anthem equals 231. And Roseanne is famous for singing the terrible national anthem at the Cincinnati Reds game. It's also even why we had Justin Timberlake doing the halftime show at the Super Bowl, because the last time that Justin Timberlake did the Super Bowl halftime show was when he showed Janet Jackson's boob. And she was singing songs off of her album called Rhythm Nation 1814, and she even admittedly says that it was in honor of the year Francis Scott Key wrote the national anthem. So the Super Bowl is absolutely synced up to that. Now the Eagles aren't going. Now Trump is, joking about the War of 1812 where the national anthem was written. If you go from the day that the White House got burnt down during the War of 1812, 8/24 of the year 1814, to the date that the story came out, it's 9 months and 14 days. So August 24th to June 6th, 9 months and 14 days. Francis Scott Key wrote the national anthem on September 14th, 9/14, right? And if you go from 9/14 to June 6th, it's 8 months and 24 days, reminding us of August 24th, the day the White House got burnt down. It's also, interestingly, the 266 days, and the same day that Donald Trump called out the kneeling during the national anthem, that was also the anniversary of Pope Francis visiting the White House on September 23rd, 9/23 as well. And he came to America on his 923rd day as Pope and went to the White House at 9:23 in the morning on 9/23. So super significant. That's the 266th day of the year as well. So interesting, it's 266 days from the anniversary of the national anthem being written to the day the story comes out. And then Trump calls out the NFL on the 266th day of 2017. The story actually happened on May 25th, but they didn't release the story until June 6th. So if you go from the day the White House burnt down to May 25th, the day that actually happened, it was 9 months and 2 days, and War of 1812 in reverse reduced equals 92. Also, why do you think Justin Trudeau is the prime minister? Because in Gematria, his name equals 183 and also 168, identical to prime minister. The reverse of prime minister. His name, the small way, equals 48, just like Donald Trump, just like Kim Jong-un, just like Russia, Mike Pence, the 48th vice president, and so on. 48, a very important number. 40, we had the closest supermoon just after Trump won the election since the year 48. Prince Charles born in the year 48. The Indians were in the World Series that year. They haven't won a World Series since the year 48. The word wall equals 48. We're told Trump wins the election on the anniversary of the Berlin Wall coming down. And then they come out with the game show, The Wall, and a bunch of movies like The Great Wall of China and another movie called The Wall. I mean, what are the odds? Israel declared its independence in the year 48, and then Donald Trump finally comes out and he declares, you know, Jerusalem as the capital of or of Israel, right? So once again, all connected, ridiculous. And Donald Trump went to a Jesuit university. Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope. They're all super synced up. Their birthdays are even 187 days apart. And Society of Jesus equals 187. That's what the Jesuits are. And him and Pope Francis, 187 days apart. George Washington equals 187. Washington, D.C. equals 187. You know, Trump, his national convention was in Cleveland on 18/7, and he became a president 187 days later. Anyway, if you've been following what I've been talking about, I've talked a lot about bridge symbolism and also a bunch of stuff with this number 510 recently in regards to Donald Trump's visit and with the summit with Kim Jong Un, and this number 510 is really important. That was the day they announced. May 10th was the day they announced that Trump and Kim Jong would meet, and the word Korea equals 510. The word basketball equals 510. Think about Dennis Rodman and the basketball diplomacy, and also Kim Jong's brother, who he killed in Malaysia, that's right next to Singapore. His birthday was on May 10th. And the South Korean president, he became the president on 510. And their meeting on 6/12 is 5 months and 10 days before the anniversary of the JFK assassination. And John Kennedy equals 510 in Gematria. And think about the James Franco that's in 11/22/63, all about the JFK assassination. And then he's also in the movie where he goes and interviews Kim Jong Un or whatever, and he's supposed to assassinate him. So there's these big parallels to the JFK assassination and how it's connected to Trump's meeting with North Korea. And what they're doing is they're building bridges. And they even mention this in articles, like when the South Korean president went and met Kim Jong or Kim Young, they said that they were building a bridge and whatnot. So they were bringing up this bridge symbolism, and it happened on, what was it, the 117th day of the year. The word bridge equals 117. And all year I've been documenting about the bridge symbolism and how it's connected to the Pope. Pope Francis turned 81 years old, 81 days after the Jesuit anniversary this year. And the Golden Gate Bridge this year on May 27th, it has been opened for 81 years, and Golden Gate Bridge equals 81 in Gematria, frontwards and the backwards. The Golden Gate is what the Jews believe the Messiah will return through. Golden Gate equals 239, right? Reminding us of that special day with the Pope and Trump calling out the national anthem, the kneelers during the national anthem. And, you know, think about the number 81. The word pontiff means bridge builder. The Minnesota bridge collapse happened on 8/1, and it fell 81 feet, and the main trusses were 81 meters long, and it took them 81 minutes to transport people to the hospital. So that number is really important. And when you look up Francis Scott Key, you find out his birthday just so happened to be August 1st, 8/1. And even better yet, he died 5 months and 10 days after his birthday. So he dies 5 months, 10 days after his birthday. That 510 number yet again. And Donald Trump's birthday this year is Flag Day, and that will be his 510th day of being the president as well. So, you know, we're getting this story about the War of 1812 because it's synced up to the national anthem theme that they're running, and Trump's birthday is Flag Day. Francis Key even equals 111. He died on January 11th, a lot like 111. The original poem was called The Defense of Fort M. Henry, that equals 923. Once again, a lot like the date Trump called out the NFL. Herbert Hoover, too, in regards to the stock market crash. And, you know, he's the president who became the president in 1929, just after the St. Valentine's Day massacre, right? And we had a new St. Valentine's Day massacre this year. Anyway, Herbert Hoover equals 614 in Satanic Gematria. Trump's birthday, 614, Flag Day. And Herbert Hoover was the president who signed the national anthem to be the Star Spangled Banner into Congress. He was the president who signed the Star Spangled Banner to be the national anthem into Congress. So lots and lots of interrelated events going on, all going back to the standing during the national anthem and the flag symbolism. So just wanted to make a quick video, show you why we got the story about the War of 1812 with Donald Trump, because it's all synced up to the theming, and it's all synced up by Gematria. So have a good one. Peace.